Here's my audience. Dr. on top over there.
I'm ashamed to be alive.
Where once stood lush, tropical forest, now stands miles of empty land. Dirt and scattered tree stumps serve as the only reminder of the previously majestic forest. Screams ring through the air as indigenous people are brutally murdered for their land. The Amazon is quickly turning into nothing more than a land of death and destruction. Today we are going to talk about how saving the Amazon is about more than saving trees. There are immense consequences which go further than one might imagine. If we do not find a solution to this growing problem, our world will be forever changed. While I know some of you have deforestation at the bottom of your list of concerns, today I'm going to tell you why it's detrimental to the global ecosystem and it spurs violence. For those of you who are as passionate about deforestation as I am going to give you some hard facts to solidify your own arguments. I have been following the issue of deforestation for about a year and have gathered a bit of information. I have also been relentlessly researching the topic in order to develop a deeper understanding of the issue. Today we are going to talk about why deforestation is a problem, how illegal logging operates, as well as how to prevent it. The Amazon is 2.124 million square miles, and we lose about 20,000 square miles per year. Some argue that the Amazon is so large that losing that amount of trees doesn't really matter because we can simply replant the trees which are lost. This is an oversimplification fallacy. When discussing the process of reforestation, Catherine Brock states that while some aspects can return surprisingly quickly within 65 years, it takes up to 4,000 years for a landscape to regain its native identity. This means that if deforestation rate continues at 20,000 square miles per year, by the time one section regains its identity at the 65-year mark, 61% of the rainforest will have been swept away. Losing 61% of the Amazon would be devastating for the indigenous hunting and gathering tribes which live there. An Ottawa tribesman was quoted saying, "The land is mine, it is ours. They can go to the city, but we live in the forest. They are killing everything, everything is dying. The children will go hungry, my daughter will go hungry, and I will go hungry too." Gatlin Chamberlain said that the Amazon tribe is being wiped out by pistoleros, which are hired gunmen, by land grabbers, which are trying to strong-arm the land away from the indigenous tribes. There are currently only about 355 surviving members, which put the tribe on the brink of extinction. Kapiru, an Amazon tribesman, described his family's brutal murder. "I hid in the forest from the white man. They killed my mother, my brother, my sister, and my wife. I suffered a great deal when I was shot during the massacre. I could put no medicine on my back. I couldn't see the wounds. It was amazing that I survived. It was through the spirit. Countless others are not as lucky as Kapiru. Not even children are spared from the devastation of the massacres." According to Scott Wallace, the Amazon is also dangerously close from flipping from a carbon sink to a carbon producer, and one reason is drought. The Amazon produces half of its own rainfall through the moisture released back into the atmosphere through the foliage. According to Lauren Morello, when trees begin to rot that normally absorb carbon dioxide, they release that carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. In a normal year, the Amazon rainforest absorbs 1.5 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide. That is more than the United States' total carbon dioxide emissions from energy consumption last year. Losing the Amazon as a carbon sink would be devastating. Now that we've talked about why this is a problem, let's talk a little bit about how illegal logging works. According to Scott Wallace, land thievery is committed through strong-arm tactics, corruption, as well as fraudulent titles. And it's so common that Brazilians have a name for the offenders, garios, from the Portuguese word gario, which means cricket. And these offenders would age fraudulent land titles by putting the paper documents inside of a drawer full of hungry crickets. So effective was this tactic that when officials reviewed Amazonian land titles over a 3-year period of time, over 62,000 titles were found to be fraudulent and voided. According to the EIA, concessionaires submit for approval lists of trees that do not actually exist. Corrupt officials approve this list of imaginary trees. Backed by the volumes of imaginary trees, the corresponding official documents are sold on the black market and used to launder wood extracted illegally from elsewhere. This provides illegal logging with the means to launder lumber and turn a profit. Now that we know how illegal logging works, we'll go ahead and look at how to prevent it. According to the EIA, the government of Peru should raise resources in order to investigate and prosecute those corrupt officials. They should also find out exactly where the system is weak in order to reform the import and exportation systems. Now, you may be wondering what you and I can do. And you can use your power of consumerism and only purchase wood products that have FSC certification. You can also donate to a nonprofit organization such as the Amazon Conservation Association that actually purchases land for conservation and research. The simplest thing that you can do is just spread the word and raise awareness. Saving the Amazon is about so much more than saving trees. The consequences go further than one might imagine. Today we've talked about why illegal logging is a problem, how illegal logging works, as well as ways to prevent it. Mothers holding their babies cry out as pistorellos murder their families before turning the gun on them. Those who survive the onslaught of violence are exiled into a dying forest and face starvation. Where once stood the Ayahuasca home, now stands a land of death and destruction. The blood of the indigenous people stains desolate soil. I urge you, go to www.amazonconservation.org and donate. And if you cannot help financially, share their page on your Facebook. You are listening to my speech on your computer right now. All it takes is a couple clicks to make a difference. Like butter over bread, spread the word on the web. And there's my audience.